All right. So today we're going to work on some more reflections. Remember, a reflection is just a flip or a mirror image of your original image. Okay. So your reflection today is going to be a little bit different. Yesterday we just highlighted our axes, our x and our y axes. I'm going to wait till everybody is paying attention and not playing with their rulers and focused. All right. So this time the rule tells us what we're going to reflect across. So this time it tells me x is -1. But that could be confusing to some of us. So the way we're going to figure out what our line of reflections is, we're going to create a t-chart. A t-chart that has our x and our y coordinates. So go ahead and write a t-chart down right next to that problem. So you should be writing a t-chart next to the problem. Isaiah, writing a t-chart. So again, it tells me that x is equal to -1. That means x is always going to be -1 on this line of reflection. So I'm going to write -1 3 times because that's going to give me 3 really good points that I'm going to be able to plot to find my line of reflection. Okay. So when I'm reflecting, I want to have 3 really good points that are going to help me. I just want to use 3 very simple numbers that I know will be on every graph that I use. So I'm going to use 1, 0, and -1. I'm always going to use 1, 0, and -1. You guys can do 1, 2, 3. You can do 2, 0, -2. It doesn't matter as long as they're on your existing graph. I like to use these 3. You can pick 3 different numbers that you're more comfortable with. And then we graph these points. Okay, so from my point of origin, right, we're really good at graphing now. X tells me I'm going to go left 1. Y tells me I'm going to go up 1. Here's my point. Okay, back to my next ordered pair. I just graphed this one. From my point of origin, X tells me I'm going to go left 1. Y tells me I'm not moving. Y is 0. There's my next point. Graph this one. For my next one, from my point of origin, X tells me go left 1, and Y tells me go down 1. There I have 3 really nice points that I can draw my line of reflection. So I'm going to connect them with my highlighter to get my line of reflection. Got it? So next, we're going to count just like we did yesterday, but this time they're going to get a little bit more tricky, so I really need you guys to pay attention. So this time you might have to change direction. So for the first point, K, what direction do I have to go to get to this line of reflection, right or left? I have to go right. So if I'm going right, I only have to move how many spaces to get to my line of reflection? Just 1. So I'm going to continue in that same direction 1 more time, and that gives me my first point. This time we're going to label it. Yesterday we didn't. So today is K. This one is also going to be K, but we're going to call it K prime. So we're going to add a little tiny mark. See if I can zoom in. Get some focus there. So K prime. Now let's look at L. Do I have to move right again to get to my line of reflection, or am I changing direction? I have to change direction, right? This time I'm going in what direction? So I'm going to count left. 1, 2, 3. So it took me 3 units to get to my line of reflection. So I got to keep moving in that same direction I was started So left, another how many units? 1, 2, 3. And that becomes L prime. Okay, so I have K prime here, I have L prime here. My last point is M, and we're going to count. What direction do I have to go to get to my line of reflection? Left. I'm going to count left. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to count again in the same direction in another 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that puts me right at the outer edge of my box, and I'm going to label it M prime. Then I take my straight edge and I connect my points. And it looks, and you can tell it kind of looks like a bow tie now, right? So all I did was I took this image and I flipped it. Okay, and sometimes you're going to have a little bit of overlap. Question? For today, yes, because they're all going to give you a location. It's not y-axis or x-axis. Okay, so when the rule tells you to reflect over the y-axis like we did yesterday, then all you have to do is highlight the axis. Okay, but for today, if you look at your assignment, they're all going to tell you to reflect over something. Okay, so let's skip down to number 5. Okay, so this time what is my rule telling me? Y equals -2. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make my t-chart, my x and my y, and it's always like this, right? Always x before y. And what is my y going to be every time? -2. So I'm going to say -2, -2, and -2. That means my y are going to be my 3 choice numbers. What do I like them to be? 1, 0, and -1. Okay, so now I have 3 points that I can plot. Right? And we're really good at graphing, right? We got graphing down? Yes, we do. You guys did really well on the graph test. So let's go ahead and graph. From my point of origin, I'm going to go right how many places? And then up or down? Down how many? 1, 2. Let's graph my next one. From my point of origin, am I moving?
No.
X is 0, but what is y? So I'm going to go down 2. Graph that one. Last one. From my point of origin, left or right? Left 1 and down 2. That gives me a cool 3 points that I can highlight with my highlighter. There's my beautiful line of reflection. Think of it as your mirror. When you look in the mirror, or when you guys take those selfies in the mirror, doesn't your shirt look backward if it says, I must go? When you take that selfie in the mirror, it says it's backwards, right? So that's exactly what we're doing here. We're just flipping the image, okay? We're taking a selfie, so to speak, all right? So let's go ahead and graph and flip this now. Let's go top down. So X. What direction am I going in order to get to my line of reflection? I'm going right. I'm going left. I'm going down. Okay. So from X to this line, I have to go down 1 unit. To reflect it, I need to go down 1 more unit. That becomes X prime. Okay. We're on number 5. Okay, so for W, do I have to go left, right, up, or down? I have to go up? I have to go up 1. And then to reflect it, I continue in that same direction up 1 more. And that gives me my W prime. For Y, I have to go, question. It's your line of reflection. Look, if I go right, am I ever going to hit that line of reflection? If I go left, am I ever going to hit that line of reflection? If I go down, am I ever going to hit that line of reflection? So I have to go up to get to it. Okay? This is this reflection. Okay? So let's go ahead and do Y. Which direction, Jordan, to get to that line of reflection? Up. 1. Continue with my reflection. Up. 1. This becomes Y prime. Take your lovely straight edge and connect those points. And voila, we have a kind of a star. A star with no head. All right? You guys want to do one more, or you want to try one on your own and then we'll check it?
One more.
Why don't you guys try one on your own? Let's go ahead and do number 3. I'm going to have you guys do number 3. I was just teasing. Do number 3, and then we'll check it, okay? So we're going to, here we go. So I'm going to do my T-chart, my X and my Y. And this is where I noticed some of you guys were struggling, okay? X is equal to -2, so X is always going to be -2. I'll wait. This is what I was watching. You guys were struggling, not knowing where to put this number originally. If it says X, you're going to put them under the X. If it says Y, you're going to put it under the Y. Okay? So that's going to tell you where you're pointing that number. And you only have to do it 3 times because that gives you a nice starting for your line. So X is always going to be -2. And then these numbers here are the numbers that I gave you, or whatever numbers you choose, as long as they're, I mean, you could do 2, 4, 6 if it fits on the graph. Or you could do 1, 2, 3. Doesn't have to be 1, 0, -1. But whatever numbers you pick. I like 1, 0, -1 because they're easy to graph. Okay? And then we graph them. And some of us were struggling forgetting that our point of origin is just where we start. We don't have to put a point there, but that is where we start. Okay? So X is going to tell me left or right. Y is going to tell me up or down. X is -2, so I'm going to go left 2. Left 2, Y is 1. It tells me up 1. Okay? Next one, -2 and 0. X is going to tell me left or right. It's -2. Y is 0. I don't move. -2 and 1 from 0. X tells me -2. That's left 2. And then down 1. Because it's -1. I take my highlighter. Ahmed, you should be watching. And I highlight. And then I do my reflection. So if you notice, L is right on that line of reflection, isn't it? So do I have to move to get to my line of reflection? Nope. So it stays there. It just becomes L prime as well. Okay, 2. For J, I need to go to my line of reflection. So Justin, am I going left or right to get to this line? Left or right? I'm going over it right now, so I need you to work with me here. Am I going to go left or right to get to this line of reflection from J? Justin, I'm going right. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. Justin? So that puts me right on my line of reflection. Right? So in order to finish my reflection, I have to continue in that same direction, that same number of spaces. So I'm going to count again. 1, 2, 3. That puts me right here. That's where I put my point, and that's where I label it as J prime. Got that? Justin, you got that? Okay, so K, to my line of reflection, what direction am I going? What direction am I going? Left. How many spaces? 2. To finish my reflection, I have to continue. Same direction, same number. Left, 1, 2. And there's my K. And then I take my straight edge and connect those points. And it gives me a cute little something. Yes, question. Questions with what I just did? All right. We've done 3 together. You have a total of 9, so that 12. So that leaves you with 9 to do. Okay? Use the rest of your time wisely and get it done in class. We're here to help.